Hello everybody, it's Jay Breeton here with another episode of Dominions 5. This one is turn 31, and the commentary was really dreary in the original form. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of walk you through the highlights of this turn. The main thing is that we moved pretty much everything down to Glade Woods. The reason for that is because we wanted to counter any potential move by Utgard. Their pretended god was right next to us, but the province itself had friendly dominion, so my thinking was basically that we could patrol there, and if the enemy moved into us, even with the PG, we would have everyone set to fire large monsters, just try and trigger Berserk before it's cast Howl and Relief and Foul Vapours and all that good stuff, and we would go from there. Other than that, we basically set some PD to stop Pythium from moving out into any more of our provinces, and not too much else, to be honest with you. Hello everybody, it's been a relatively long turn in scripting, but hopefully it should be able to be talked about relatively quickly. So research in Thaumaturgy is completed. That was mainly to get Curse on the off chance that the enemy attacked with their pretended god into the fort that we defended. Well, the province with a fort in it. We cast Revive King, that's before casting some skeletons to go and potentially take this pond. It's battling Glade Woods. This was the one where we defended against these dudes. The enemy is now mainly comprised of Scythekiner and Crossbowmen. Those aren't too impossible for us to deal with our national troops, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it all goes rather well. Although, to be fair, we've been bled like hard by this war. I think everyone involved has, or at least me and Utgard has. I think Atlantis is doing relatively fine. Meanwhile, Ulm is pushing out, heroically pushing out of its capital. These guys may or may not beat the province defense here. What can I say? There's 32 PD here. It's very likely we'll win that one, but if these guys attack into the province defense here, they're probably going to win. I was going to build a temple here, but I've changed priorities a little bit. We are moving most of the remnants of this force back into this province here, so it's not going to be huge amounts of stuff, but there will be a fair amount of things going back. I'm going to alchemize some extra E-gems because we're running a little bit low because our income's not super high. We lost the battle over here. One thing I didn't account for is the Unwerewolves being able to repel falchion attacks due to their size. So we either need to cast shrinking spells on them, which would be funny, or we just need to be more realistic about our strategy. So I've got these guys on Fire Commander. I've got Summon Lesser Elemental here, casting Weakness, Horror Mark, and that kind of thing here. Now that our PG's awake, we're going to have a bunch more research, so that's good. So we're going to get to Conjure 4 first, because grants us access to Strength of Gaia, also means we have access to things like Lamashtas that could come in handy against a pretended god, also means just more utility stuff. We have Voice of Apsu, we also have Light Northern Star, which is quite useful battlefield-wide bless. Or buff rather, for us to have, because our levels of Astral Magic aren't very high. The availability of it is not mega huge, and having everyone cast, or rather, having everyone try and communion up is not super viable because we don't have any base astral casters. There are always astral casters outside of our capital. So sorry that was a bit long-winded, but you get the picture. 5, we're going to get access to Howl, which is a truly great spell, and we'll see how we go from there. Our gem income at the moment is not like great, but it's okay. We are relatively rich in terms of air gems, so I'm sending this guy basically on a suicide mission over to Saran Forest. If he survives even a teeny tiny bit, he might possibly rinse some of the enemy's gems. He's wearing some boots of long strides and a ring of tamed lightning, but that's just to try and trigger more gem usage, really. It's not a real threat, because maybe he'll go into Hesperia, or maybe he'll go into Khazad-dûr. I'm moving scouts into both to hopefully see the battle either way, and yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. It's also like not completely implausible that he just moves at least his PG into Erissia. before potentially attacking into the Hidden Realm, but that's just one not to overthink too much, I think. Over here we are going to be pushing into Queen Forest. We got some event troops over here, so moving into Queen Forest with these dudes. Well, his scales are garbage. I didn't even realise. So his sloth scales are really, really bad for him, because it means he's not going to be able to mass terribly many national recruits, especially not giants, which is probably why his military is mainly comprised of 7R crossbowmen and Garmhidlinger on reflection. So yeah, so moving in here, liquid body, 7 lesser water elemental, guard commander on these guys. They may or may not take that. Good luck to them. Over here we're moving in with a few heavy horsemen. Back here, fully thundering over the steps, going to Zberia. Basically, just try and spread some extra dom here. He's down to like 1 candle. It's plausible he just dies next turn, and then that's the end of him. Or possibly he doesn't. We'll just have to see. But yeah, so over here I'd anticipate to some extent Pangai moving into the province, so that's why I'm not moving in. The mermen in this province are hopefully going to be taken care of by Suleiman, and the guys he's going to be leading that are going to be skeletal. There's not too much recruitment going on over here. We have an ancestor guide coming in, and some extra heavy footmen. Over here we are recruiting a bunch of ancestor vessels still. I kind of said I wasn't going to, and then I've recruited a bunch anyway. I don't think it's too big of a mistake, but you know, that's mistakes for you. It's never the mistakes you think you make that they're going to cause all the problems. Maybe I'll move these guys into Monarch Woods, and we'll go about it that way. In terms of casts, I've gone from casting haste to casting poison ward instead. We've basically got a wall of guys here that we're going to be having on Hold and Fire. But I'll set these guys up on Hold and Fire as well. That's J for those of you at home who don't know already. Maybe we'll have this set of dudes on attack rear, or hold and attack rear even, just to try and mop up some of the Scythecona we can expect to come in. I don't know, it's tricky because if we get into just a shooting duel with crossbowmen, we are not going to do too well. So maybe I'll change that. I think the battle in this province was, was like a really specific one, because there were a bunch of Garmhidlinger and Jotun Wolves as well, which kind of contributed to the rout. So maybe we'll have these guys just on attack and attack rear. Because at the end of the day, like, crossbowmen do not like you getting up in their grill. That's just one of those things. So maybe move this guy back here, and change where some of these dudes are. So some of these guys are just going to get shot with crossbows. That's going to happen, but it is going to put them in a better spot for banishment, which is going to be really important for mitigating some of the effects of the enemy horde of skeletons casters. Now, we don't really need this guy casting Spirit Curse. Well, let's hope we don't anyway. I'll get him on Summon Earth Power, and then we will cast probably Strength of Giants. Or, I don't know. I think we're doing okay strength-wise. Let's cast Legions of Steel. And just try and provide some additional protection for the boys who are going to be attacking into crossbowmen, because every point counts. Back here, I think casting protection is fine. Parasphere's Quagmire is going up, just to try and add to the encumbrance of the enemy mages. We have enough like random garbage in the back that we're going to be alright. And if they move into here, fingers crossed at least, we can fight them off. It's possible they go into Monarch Woods instead, but we'll just have to play whatever hand we're dealt, really. Don't think there's too much else to say. In here I'm moving in and casting a bunch of stuff potentially against this guy. We're putting the PD up to 22 in this province because that's a lot of crossbowmen for even a regenerating guy to deal with. This guy's got a firebrand, so he's a little bit tricky to fight otherwise. And yeah, just getting some research in. We are attacking back into Pythium because he broke siege with a relatively small force. So I think I could probably beat it if if I take these guys, maybe hold and attack rear with these, and have the ancestor vessels up front, because they're going to have some poison resistance, so they'll at least have that going for them. Alright, I'm going to call it there. Hopefully we're not making any huge mistakes. I still would love for some of our heroes to show up, because they're all really good, and take care and have a wonderful evening.